Good morning, gamers, and welcome back to another long overdue episode of Mataaho. This was supposed to be a nice, simple, easy build. It should have taken me no time at all, but of course, I had to overcomplicate things for myself. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Anyway, today we're building for the Wallabies. We're stepping away from the Oceania pack for a little bit. So I was faced with a little bit of a challenge for this build, because at this point in time in Planet Zoo we have 3 different types of macropods, also known as Australian marsupial hoppy boys. We have 3 different types in the game, and since I'm putting all of them into this zoo quote unquote, not a zoo at all, putting all of them into this project, I needed to make each one of their habitats feel like unique and like not feel redundant in any way. And so there's the quokkas, which obviously, it's one of the main animals in the Oceania pack, so I feel like that one's not gonna be a problem. And there's the kangaroos. Kangaroos are the most iconic and well-known macropods, so like that wasn't gonna be a problem. But then I was left with the wallabies. Like, what do I do with wallabies? How do I make them feel unique and like they have a place here? And then I remembered that there's a small island off the coast of Tasmania called Bruny Island, where there's actually a very large population of albino wallabies. And I was like, hey, we have albino wallabies in the game, so what if I just made a habitat specifically for albino wallabies? So that's what this is based off of. It's based off of Bruny Island, I guess. Normally, albinos are quite rare in nature because it absolutely ruins camouflage. And also, there's a lot of health problems that can come with albinism. But on Bruny Island, there are no predators, no natural predators of the wallaby. There are predators, but nothing that preys on wallabies. So, at some point in time, some group of wallabies that all had the albino gene all mixed together, and then they spread the gene throughout the entire population, and so it's quite common for them to have albinism over there. One of my favorite pictures that I found just by doing Google image searches is there's an albino wallaby, and it's got a regular colored joey sticking its head out of its pouch, and it's standing right next to a regular colored wallaby, and the regular colored wallaby has an albino joey sticking its head out of his pouch. So it's just like a nice little mix and match. Very adorable. So getting into the build that I'm working on right now, I made a little peninsula, and I'm just throwing all this foliage work on here, just the same foliage palette I used for the penguins. On this peninsula, I built a recreation of the Cape Bruny Lighthouse, which really is the only significant landmark on all of Bruny Island. Now, this lighthouse is really where this build started to get just a little bit silly, because it really should have been as simple as just stacking like 3 rounded mud walls on top of each other and calling it good. But the real life version of the lighthouse, the walls are like ever so slightly slanted inward. It's not like a 90-degree angle, it's more like a 89-degree angle. So I wanted to incorporate that into this build. And so I used a little technique that I just kind of stole from Zekin. I took inspiration from the Dunes build, which is an incredible build. I'm going to leave a card for that build if you want to see that. I'll put that up in the top. It's a gorgeous build. He made all these like big cone structures, and so I just copied that. I used these plaster trim pieces, made the whole thing rounded but also ever so slightly slanted inward. And so that already took up like, maybe a couple hundred pieces instead of the 3 pieces that I could have used. But it doesn't stop there. It gets worse. It gets so much worse, because you can see all of the like hard edges, the corners of the square plaster trim pieces. You can see all those lines going up the build, and I didn't like that. I wanted it to look more rough and rounded, and so I decided to start using decal pieces. Now the decal pieces are obviously flat, and so if you stick them onto a round surface, then you kind of get them sticking off the side of the surface of the thing you're putting them on, which looks a little odd. And so I was limited to using only the very thinnest decal pieces to coat the outside of this entire structure. And because of just the way it's all like rounded and everything, I couldn't really copy and paste very well, because it's not just like round around the outside, it's also slanted inward, and so that just makes copying and pasting very difficult. Eventually I was able to like start copying and pasting, and it turned out okay, but regardless, it was ridiculous doing all of this, and it took me a very long time, which is why this video is late. But the end result, I am very happy with the way it turned out. You can kind of see where the decal pieces stick out just a little bit, ever so slightly. If you look at like the edge of the building, you can see like the back side of the decal piece, just slightly, not very noticeable, only if you're like looking very closely. But yeah, it was ridiculous and absurd, and I didn't have to do that, but I wanted to, so I did anyway. And I keep getting to that point in this project specifically where I'm like, okay, I'm building stuff and it's all going good, but then I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna do this crazy long complicated thing for no other reason other than to make it more complicated. But you know, honestly, I have been enjoying it. It's pushing my creativity. I'm gaining new skills and things by doing that, and that's really what it's all about. And this game is just leveling up your ability, and I guess that's why I upload videos as well, is so that people can, you know, maybe take inspiration from the things that I do in my builds and be like, hey, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna, I don't know, do it in my build. Or maybe you come up with your own thing, and that's what it's all about, really. It's all about that creativity, and I love this game, so I want to like support the community, and I want to be able to inspire other people to make the things that, you know, they want to make. The reason I actually got this game in the first place is, well, initially I was watching the Gaming Beavers videos that he was making on it, just because I've been subscribed to him for forever, and so he made some videos on it, not a lot, but he made a few. And then I saw someone do a tour of Haraki Park, which is a very, very old zoo build at this point. It was made like when the South America pack was the most recent DLC that came out. But I saw that and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. You can make this in a video game. And so I wanted to do that too, or do something like that. So shout out to whoever uploaded that video of the zoo tour of Haraki Park, and shout out to the person who made it. I don't know who it was. It still is my personal favorite build that I've ever seen anyone make in this game. Love that project. I would highly recommend checking that one out on the Steam Workshop if you haven't already. It's an older build, so he didn't have access to all of the new animals and new pieces that we have, but still it's just drop dead incredible. One day I hope to have a completed project that even slightly compares to something like that. I have made a lot of things in this game, but I haven't actually completed any projects yet because I'm bad at doing things like that. But this one shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Maybe I can get this done by the end of the year, but of course that's what I said about Afruika as well. Yeah, I'm gonna finish that by the end of the year for sure. Absolutely. Nah, I always dig too deep holes for myself I set my ambitions and expectations so high, and then I struggle to actually meet those expectations. But hey, it's all a learning experience. It's all about having fun. It's a game at the end of the day. Video games are, for the most part, about having fun. I say for the most part because some of my favorite games actually aren't necessarily the most fun games, quote unquote, but that's off topic entirely. I could talk about other games that I play, which, even though Planet Zoo is one of my favorite games of all time, the other games that I play are not like Planet Zoo at all. Spider-Man 2's coming out today, and I'm gonna play that to death pretty soon. So if a new video doesn't come out super soon, apologies, I'm playing Spider-Man, my bad. But that's the whole speed build. We're at the end now. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you like this build, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And that's all for now. I will see you in the next build. Bye.